Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday. It's time. It's that time for sure. So we're going to move on with this for sure. It is earlier than normal, but I have a jam packed schedule today. So I had to come on earlier. So if you're catching this on the replay, that's okay. If you're seeing the little red live in the corner, you know you've got me live. So say hi if you're here so that I know that you're here. Again, Tuesdays has become quite probably one of the busiest days of my schedule. Sometimes things happen, but that's okay. It's all right. I'm still here. We're still gonna talk. Still gonna throw a little Jesus out there, and I gotta imagine somebody needs it. I know I do. I do. Um, this is a subject that I absolutely have struggled with in the last year. Probably a lot of times in my life, if I'm completely honest. Morning, Karen. Morning, morning, morning. Good to see you here, my friend. Um, Anger. Whew, anger. And if you're on here and saying you ain't never been angry, you're lying. You're lying already, okay? So don't say you never been angry, because you have been. So we're going to talk about this a little bit today. We are going to discuss what you feel and what you act on. There is feeling anger, and there is letting it become like an everyday emotion for you, which is hard, especially when things are happening in your life that you don't understand. I mean, look, there have been times I've been mad at God, right? Like, I'm not ashamed to admit it, but I'm ashamed that I was. But you know what? I think God sees that as normal, because I think He's used to everybody piling it on Him every time things don't go as you want them to. It is a difficult reaction, and not making it a permanent emotion. I've watched people get angry about so many things in life, whether it's losing somebody or a sick somebody that you don't understand why they can't get better, or divorce, or friendships falling apart, or losing a job, or feeling like you were wronged in one way or another. Morning, honey. And I just think that sometimes we have to be very careful what anger is. Look, I could feel myself last year grabbing a hold of me. Can I tell you, it was more than an emotion or a feeling, it was becoming a lifestyle for me. And it was happening so quickly that I don't even think I recognized it. Looking back, I recognize it. Hey, Michelle, good to see you, babe. Um, but sometimes you can only see where you are in hindsight. It's so much easier to blame God. It's so much easier to blame the other person, but yet you've got to understand the other person, the situation may have brought about the feelings of anger, the feelings of disappointment, the feelings of sadness. But here's the truth: you are responsible for where you let that go, and where you let it grow, or where you extinguish it. This is life experience I'm talking about. For years, I was mad at God about my mom dying. For years. I mean, and I also was a teenager. So, like, teenagers, like, get mad and they harbor. They harbor. People will go, "You seem so angry." And you're like, "I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm not angry." I am not angry, but it's all over them. It's like they might as well have the words written all over their face in magic marker, right? That's who I was. Um, I tried to turn it down when I had to, when I was working, when I was waitressing, because, see, I could not think about the circumstances that were making me angry. In school, my last year, of course, I was in my senior year when my mom got sick. And when I finally, after taking care of mom for the few months that she was alive, Um, I went back to school, and I have to tell you, I was a changed person. How do things not change you? Um, one sec. Good morning, Angela. Good to see you. Janice. Okay, everybody, here's one. Janice says, she's scheduled, we talked about this last couple of calls. She is scheduled for her back surgery March the 6th in Roanoke, Virginia. Please keep her in her prayers. We know that God's got her. She's going to come through this, but there's always anxiety. There's always a need for peace. And when you know people are praying for you, uh, that can bring you some peace right there. So Janice, we are praying for you 100%. So you know what? Let us know when you can about how things are for sure. We'll be just coming back from Miami, or have just gotten back right from Miami, I think so. So yeah, so please keep us in the notch. So let's get back to the anger. So I was a master at learning how to be angry but work around it, like be around certain people, be around and just act like I wasn't. But I remember my best friend Carla in school. She knew that I had changed. And did she have those conversations with me? No, she didn't, because I wouldn't have listened and I wouldn't have agreed with her, because I actually didn't even want to think about what I had just gone through in this really quick setting. I mean, we find out something's wrong with my mom, and then she goes in for this surgery, and we're hoping they're just going to find what's wrong, and they close her up and say she's got pancreatic cancer. There isn't anything we can do for this. And this was many, many years ago, guys. I'm 61 now. Um, but when I look at this, I think, and then within months, like my senior year, well, happy senior year to me. And I was angry and scared when she was sick. I was very fearful because we were trying every drug, we were trying experimental drugs out of Mexico. We were trying juicing. We were trying so many things to try to reverse this. And my mom opted out of chemo. She didn't want that for her own reasons. And that was hard. It was hard. It was very difficult. It was a trying time as a teenager, and I left all of that for the couple of months that she was sick at home, and then she died in October. And um, I was different. I was different, and it took me years to feel like I was getting over that anger. Matter of fact, I learned how to live with that angry, and I basically was flipping God off in the meantime. Like, I don't want anything to do with you. If that's who you are, no. I don't care what I've learned. I don't care what my parents taught me all my life. I don't care. This is where I'm at, and I decided to stay there for a while. Um, didn't go back to church for the longest time. Long years. Um, I honestly can't even tell you I prayed a lot. That's the truth. I let that anger just get in and root in me. And you know what? Satan got exactly what he wanted. Because the other side of this coin is he didn't want me to learn how to get through it. He didn't want me to understand that my mom's body was diseased, and at that time they just didn't know how to treat this. And the truth is, God received my mom. Jesus opened his arms and he received my mom, right? He didn't take her from me. He said, Pat George, we see that you're tired and you're struggling and your body is just falling apart, and you come on home. You come on home. Your work is done. As a 16-year-old kid, and by the way, even as a 19-year-old young adult, that was really, really hard to comprehend. And I was, yes, still angry. So through that, as life went on, there were all different things I could be angry about. I mean, believe me, the devil kept just piling that stuff on. Like, my dad didn't really want anything to do with me. My little brother, was ripped out of my life, and my dad, like basically said, "There's the curb, go live on it." So it was a really, really hard time. Hey, Deborah, good to see you. Um, And in the end, um, doing life alone was really, really hard. Feeling like you always had your dysfunctional family around you growing up, and then one incident, my mom dying, we realized then she was the super glue because it completely destroyed my family. My family imploded. Imploded. So suddenly I was on my own, this naive young chick out in the world who had just been put in this little Christian school atmosphere, not knowing what life in the real world really was. And boy, were there lessons learned. But in the midst of all that, I was angry. And I don't even think I saw myself as angry. I just pushed it all down. But I was. I was. I was angry. I didn't want to listen. I was then too caught up in just making it and keeping a roof over my head. And what I didn't know is at that time that I was not talking to God, He was putting people into my life. He was putting people like Aunt Joyce, who was my mom's best friend, and she walked back into my life, and Hallie McSwain, who was a friend of my mom's, and um, at one time she put a roof over my head. There are people, look, God was working, but if you thought that I was going to admit that God was working, that was not going to happen because I was angry, right? Um, I can remember when my brother Mark, when we reconnected, and my two older brothers, I mean, my oldest brother, we were 10 years apart, right? And Mark and I believe, were 6 years apart. And they were like well on their way to life and marriage, and Mark was in college and had moved on. And but when he did, I believe, I don't even think he knew, but that was kind of a God move at the time, that like there were these people who were like coming back into my life, but yet I really didn't want to trust anybody. I was always grateful and they were always good to me, but I still was angry. I was just angry because this is not how I had envisioned life at all, right? So, let's talk about it. Like, you see the verse that I put up, it says, refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not yourself, it tends only to evil. Psalms, boy, so much, almost as much truth in Psalms as there is Proverbs. Proverbs is my absolute favorite book in the Bible. I believe Proverbs is like filled with life lessons that we need even in today's world. But Psalms is just an amazing book that talks about anger, that talks about fear, that talks about anxiety, that talks about when times are dark. And David is writing a lot of this that basically says, I don't know what to do with this. I feel forsaken. I forget this. But this, he talks about anger too, and how when you let anger get out of hand, it will only breed worse things for you. And I'm here to tell you that's true because it happened to me. And I'm watching people right now who are absolutely experiencing the same thing. I can watch their lives, I can watch their actions, and I see that because they're angry about a diagnosis, or they're angry about this is not how they envisioned life. What happens is they're trying to just live life, but yet the anger is eating them up inside. And I'm here to tell you, you've got to let it go. You have got to let it go. Take it from somebody that, even at a young age, and even last year, I was angry about so much. You've just got to let it go. And when people do you wrong, do you think you're doing yourself good by holding on to it when they wrong you? They're not. Danielle! Oh, my girl Danielle's on. Teresa Paul's niece. Can I just stop? I'm scrolling for a moment. This girl brings such joy into my life on social media. I have never met her. I have never hugged her, but I feel like I have. That's the truth. I feel like I have. Um, she also brings joy into her Aunt Teresa's life, and that brings me joy. And I know she's going to be visiting her soon. So, Danielle, when you see her, could you give her a big, massive hug for me, and tell her how much that I love her? Teresa is my bestie in life for sure. And you know what? She's been dealt some cards that I don't think she ever looked for. But I'm always looking for her. I'm just looking to tell her you're going to get through. You're going to get through to the next chapter. This is just a really long chapter. And always praying for her that she doesn't turn any anger, because I would have anger if I were her, into an emotion. And she's just too good a person with too much to share and too much knowledge and too much love to ever be somebody to stay angry. So people like Danielle and I, we ain't gonna let that happen. Okay, T? So if you happen to come on and you listen to this, if you angry, I get it, but we ain't gonna let you stay there, okay? Because we're gonna keep loving you through it, 100%. My girl Jess is on here, my daughter. Jess, yeah, you know what? We have to listen, right? This is hard, but first of all, look. Is it okay to be angry? Uh, is it okay to be upset? Of course it is. Of course it is. I'm not telling you to go. That person just crapped all over me, and I'm just, God bless them for doing that. No, no. That, we need to get you a little help if that's what you're doing, okay? That is not what I'm saying. Hey, Raj, good to see you, baby. Thought I was hoping you'd slip in. Um, it is okay to feel anger. It is okay to be hurt. Is it okay to be full of anger? To let everything that you do um um be ruled by anger? No, that's not okay. Suddenly, when you are so angry, do you realize now you look for everybody to wrong you? Somebody could do something you don't like. Somebody could hurt you. Now, suddenly, people who you know would never intentionally hurt you, suddenly they're all out to hurt you. Suddenly, you are not looking that you are angry about something that has happened in your past, something you're holding on to, something you didn't like, something like what I did for years. But now it is ruling every aspect of your life, how you come off to your coworkers, how you try to mentor your team, your frustration with things not going how you wanted to. It could be at your work. You know that person obviously is just trying to make life hard for me, and you're feeling this because you're still angry about something else, and really that's not it. And by the way, and even if you're not experiencing this, when you wonder why some people react how they do, have you ever like said something to somebody and you're like, their reaction, and you go, wow, like where did that come from? Like, why do they think that's what I mean, or that's what I think, or that's where I am? Like, why are you always thinking the worst? Because anger held on to by something that probably has nothing to do with you. Most of the time, it has to do with themselves or something that happened in their life. They react to you because it's something that really ain't got nothing to do with you. That's what happens. Hey, Kathy, good morning. Is it okay for anger to dictate your emotions? Heck no. It's not okay to dwell in anger. The Bible says so. It's not going to make you a better person. It's not going to take you to a good place if you are doing that. When something terrible happens, yes, it's okay to be angry. It's okay. But when anger moves from a reaction to an emotion, dictating your actions and your moods, even with everybody else, it's not okay. You may not want to hear that, but it's not okay. For a little while, when somebody loses somebody, when somebody's wronged by somebody, and then they snap off at you, or they automatically assume. And by the way, do you know what assume is? Assuming only gets you, makes an ass out of you and me, okay? Just divide it up there. That's what happens, okay? But when they assume what you meant, what you said, whatever that looks like, right? When that happens, it then breeds more discontent. It breeds more unhappiness. You cannot allow anger to rule in your heart. You cannot let anger make you become that that's who you are. A big daggone ball of anger and misery. And oh, Lee says, you will never make a good emotional decision. Do you know how often Lee has said, baby, stop? Stop, walk away, give it a moment, and then come back and think about what you want to do. See if it still looks the same. In a lot of cases, it doesn't. Sometimes it does. But in most cases, it really does not. Um, if you cannot allow anger to roll, if anger dictates your actions, you're going to become a nasty person. You are. And you even go look at yourself, go, yeah, I definitely turned the B switch on. That, yep, that was me. That was me. Yep, that's what happens. Not somebody. You're going to become somebody that people really don't want to be around. You're going to find a new reason to get your feelings hurt because maybe you feel like people don't want to be, but you do it to yourself. You've done this because you make people uneasy. The fact that you fly off at everybody and you're always defensive about everything. And really, it's got nothing to do with those people. Somebody else has hurt you in your life. Something else has happened. And you have let this now dictate everything. Everything in your life. That's not cool, y'all. I know. I've been there. I have been there. So understand. It will take all trust away from people that you should be trusting. You know, you will hate to see other people succeed because you're angry about something that has to do with you. It doesn't even have to do with that person, but you're angry about it. You're very angry about it, and it's become your emotion. And now you want to see somebody else fail just simply because you're miserable about something to do with you. If anger dictates your actions, you're going to be somebody people don't want to be around. If anger rules in your heart, you're going to become bitter, and eventually you're going to be full of rage. You'll even be full of rage with your kids. You will not be as tolerant. You will not be as patient with them. Because when anger becomes rooted inside of you, yeah, everybody's going to catch the smack of the hand, okay? Everybody going to everybody going to feel it. And you're going to be like, I don't understand. Nobody wants anything to do with me. I don't understand. Well, it could be because you haven't figured out how to let go of the anger. Angry people spread their poison to anybody within earshot. Everybody, wants to, who will feel sorry for me with what happened to me. Look, everybody hates anything that's happened that's not good. But I got news for you. You don't own the golden ticket on that. Bad things happen to good people all the time. Some things that are meant for other people, you know what? It doesn't mean that's not your walk in life. You may feel like you're the only person that something happened with to make you that angry. You are not. But holding on to it, tell me, how is that serving you? Are your relationships better? Are they better with your spouse or your significant other? Are they better with your kids? Are they better? Do you have better work relationships? Are people tiptoeing around you as they're trying to tiptoe away from you? Gonna step on some toes here. I can already see it. Angry people don't care if or when they hurt other people's feelings because they themselves are hurt. You don't care about other people's feelings because you're so wrapped up in how you were hurt that you're like, I don't care if I've hurt that person by not being supportive. I don't care if I've hurt that person because maybe I just came off with a slap or maybe I spoke ill about them. What I'm saying isn't true. It's just, hey, let me make somebody else look bad so people aren't looking at me and the way that I can fall down or the ways that maybe I have failed. And most people aren't even looking at that with you. You think you're deflecting, but what you're doing is creating an atmosphere where people are not going to want to be around you. They then tolerate you. That can't be working for you if you're that person. Angry people don't care if or when they hurt other people. But you know what? If you take yourself back and decide that you need God to help you, you need God's peace, refusing to dwell in the anger, isn't it exhausting? It should be exhausting. I mean, how are you reacting to your own anger here lately? Did you decide you were going to dwell in it? Because I almost did last year. Matter of fact, for a few months I did. And I had to let go of that. It was affecting everything and every relationship I had. It was making me into somebody that I didn't recognize anymore and I wasn't happy with. And I had to really get down on my knees and pray and say, I don't like what this is. Please help me to get through the hurt, God. Teach me how to let go of it and know that there's got to be something better for me that you've chosen just for me that is going to make all things right again. Help me to walk that journey. Now, let's talk about anger's response. Let's talk about this for a minute. Maybe you're somebody who has been hurt, right? Let's talk about you, the hurt person right now. Wounded people can become angry if they allow anger to dictate their emotions. We talked about that, right? Isn't it almost comforting sometimes to be angry? I know I shouldn't say that, but I have to tell you something. Sometimes when the rage would build up in me to be angry, you know what? I almost felt powerful with that anger because I felt like I was going to protect myself. See, my mom died. My mom left me. She left me and nobody was ever going to get that close to me. By the way, not Aunt Joyce. Not Hallie McSwain, not even my brother Mark was never going to get that close. I was going to love them. I was going to love them from over there. I was going to love them and not let them get close because Lord knows somebody's going to be taken from me. So I felt almost empowered to say, I'm going to dictate how it all goes. I'm going to dictate how I respond to everything. Justified? Look, let's be honest. Sometimes it can be fun to be angry. Fun when you can take your jabs. Fun when you can be unsupportive. Ways to maybe pleasantly plan your revenge on somebody until you turn into somebody you don't recognize anymore. And when you finally take that look in the mirror and you go, my gosh, how did I get here? Who is this person that I'm becoming? Keep quiet? Are you kidding me? An eye for an eye, right? Isn't it an eye for an eye? They hurt me, I'm going to hurt them right back. But we can choose life, or we can choose the death of who we were before the hurt. See, no matter what your reaction is, no matter what you do in all this, you choose who you're going to be in all of that. You choose. You can choose to be a victim. Look at me. I am, you know what? It doesn't matter what I do. I'm never as good as this person or that. It doesn't matter what I do. I don't even know what to do with this. Or you can choose to overcome and simply be the best you and quit trying to protect yourself from being hurt again. Sometimes the things that you're angry about don't even make any sense because it stems from something else. Do you know that there are people who are absolutely pissed off at other people's success? How does that happen? How does that happen? that somebody does something and you wouldn't celebrate it if somebody told you they were going to cut your right arm off. You know what? All you got to do is say, "Great job." No. No. See, that's what anger can do to you. We can choose to let it rule our emotions, or we can become an example of humility. I had to take myself back to that humble being that said, a lot of the journey that I've lived, to me, it says that I shouldn't be where I'm at right now. To me, there should be nobody here watching this live or on replay. That I have done so much wrong in my life and so much to fail my God, and so much to hurt others in my life, that some of them are no longer on this planet anymore. But the anger will get that. I just think, I don't want to be that person. It's exhausting to continue the anger. Yeah, Lee says rage can be a comforting, destructive emotion. It can. It can be. When we are slow to respond in bad situations, we allow God to work through the details. Again, it's okay to be angry. It's not okay to stay angry. Don't let it become an emotion that just stays with you. I mean, come on, guys. Jesus was angry. We saw that in the Bible. God gets angry. You think he likes it when you know what people are not doing what they should be doing? But yet, let's talk about the but yet, all the people who were slamming on him, all the people who say there are no God, all the people who say if there is, middle finger to you, all the people who say I will never, ever, ever, ever admit there, I will never do anything here, I will stay miserable, he still sent his son, his only begotten son, to die on the cross for your sins, no matter what. No matter how you treat him, that gift, that sacrifice was made for you and for me. I have got many times in my life that I am not proud of who I was at times in the 61 years. He did it anyways. He forgave anyways. He said, I'm waiting for you to come back to me, Molly. I'm going to be right where you left me. I ignored him. He was beside me and I ignored him. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? Ignore him. I don't care, God. Watch me do this. So many stupid things in my past. What did Jesus choose to do when he was faced with the injustice of the cross while standing before his accusers? Think about this. What did Jesus do when he was faced with being crucified and standing before his accusers? Jesus would have certainly been justified to be angry. He would have been justified to be sarcastic, telling those false accusers a thing or two, right? Instead, he chose silence. If Jesus had succumbed to anger, he would have changed history. If Jesus had called for 10,000 angels to rescue him because he was so angry at the ones who were spitting at him and beating him and blaspheming him, he could have said, remove me, but it would have changed history. And it would have changed our history too. When we are in the midst of injustice, we can choose anger or we can choose to be like Jesus. We can choose life. So let me ask you, do you, hey Steph, good to see you, baby. Do you allow anger to dictate your emotions? The next time you are tempted, think of Jesus standing before his accusers. and then mimic his response. Don't let anger become an emotion. It can be a feeling. Feel angry and then let it go. Let it go. Forgive even when they're not asking. Forgive. It's the hardest thing in the world. There are some things right now in my own life that this is being tested for me. I didn't want to talk about anger today because I realize that every time I turn around, there's something that I could be angry about if I wanted to. And I have to realize that sometimes the things that I want to keep me angry, that the only person I'm hurting by staying angry, by lashing out, by not letting go, is I am hurting my journey to go forth and be better, to live the life that God had intended for me to live, even through the hurt. He never promised that there wouldn't be hurt. He never promised that there wouldn't be disappointment. He never promised that there wouldn't be death. He never promised that people wouldn't wrong us. He never promised that there would be false people around us. There would be fake people around us. There would be people who probably would just like you to be gone, right? He never promised it was going to be easy. He never said things will always be smooth with your kid. He never said that marriage is going to last forever. We would like it to, but he never said that. But he said whatever it is that you walk due to your decisions or the decisions of others, you can choose to still walk better and learn from the lesson, learn from the example, and you can still love and not make anger an emotion. Because it's a whole lot better to learn how to smile again and just not get up and go, okay, let me nurture the anger today. Let me nurture the anger. Let me be the person who just tries to be more angry today, who tries to push people away, who tries not to be the better person. And there are times that I have thought that would be easier. And by the way, sometimes it is easier. It is easier to be the other person's nemesis. But for me, I had to decide, you know what? People hear me say it all the time. What would Jesus do, man? What would Jesus do? Y'all laugh at me. I'm always like, y'all need Jesus, or, Jesus take the whole car. Forget about just the wheel, right? That is the story of my life. Seems like I never need Jesus just to take the wheel, especially with emotional stuff. But sometimes I need him to come in and take the whole car. Because the human side of me wants to do human things. But when you stay in anger, when you stay in hurt, it's going to ruin your upcoming relationships. It could also be robbing you of a relationship. It could be robbing you of something good. It could be robbing you of helping somebody else on the path. Don't let it. Don't live all the years of anger that I have through my life. And if you have been, you're still here and breathing. You have the power to change that. God's not just going to come in and change it. You're going to need to ask him for help with that. And when you do, he will. He's not going to take a wand and make it go away. It's going to require effort. You're going to have to say, I am going to just get this anger. I'm going to let it go. Let it go, y'all. Let it go. And you know what? And sometimes you got to say to yourself, it ain't all about you, Cupcake. Again, people, I'm the only one this person's ever hurt like this. No. It ain't all about you, Cupcake. There are other people who've been hurt. There are other people who've been through it. Other people have gotten through it. I'm not worried about the people who've gotten through it and moved on. Sometimes it requires you to want more because it got so easy living in anger. that it became a way of life and you couldn't even recognize it anymore. That was me for years. Just lived in the anger and it became normal. But you know what I couldn't tell you? That I was truly happy. Because I wasn't. I just got used to how I was living back then. Don't make the mistakes Mama Molly's made. Don't. Know that there's better for you out there no matter what that looks like. But you have to choose it. Choose like Jesus did, sometimes to be silent, sometimes to let it go. And when you're not sure you can, think about his sacrifice. Got up on that cross, died, made history for your sins and for mine. Do better. And if you fall down and you feel it coming back again, you're still breathing. Get up and do it better again. Eventually, the more times you keep getting up, it will become habit and you will be able to choose happy again and let that anger go. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I've got to get on with the rest of my life. I got to Zoom here in the next minute or so. So you guys have a great rest of your week. Hey, I won't be here next week. I am leaving for Miami for the Market America Leadership Conference. Okay, so please, 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 please. You know what? Think about on that. What would Molly say? She will be here today. What did I need to work on? You know, share it with me. I want to know what you're working on. And I hope you'll be following social media because we plan on showing so much about the company and the new products that are coming and the great things that the executive team has coming for us. Not to mention, again, North Carolina's cold again. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to Miami and hoping we're going to get some great weather there. So God bless you guys. I love you, and I'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Thanks.